All right, beautiful people. Make sure I find my page. Chapter 23. All right, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is February the 18th, 2022. Day 34 of year 4, reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1052. Today we are finishing up the introduction. I think we're going to finish the intro in the Complete Annunaki Bible. And then we're going to start chapter 23 in my big toe. Let's see. There's a page. Yeah, Secret of the Ages. Page 22. That's what I should have did yesterday. Through. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I found my spot with my little marker. I forgot to put my bookmarker in it. Let me stick it right here now. Okay, we're going to start on page 22 on the introduction of My Big Toe. Chapter 23 on page 163. All right, beautiful people. Hey, girl. Hey, Belinda Brown. Yahuwah is one. Oh, great spirit, Yah, creator of all spirits. Let us face Jerusalem and give you the glory and praise whenever we are in this world. That's the east. Thank you. Yahuwah is one. So whenever you see the sun coming in behind me, that's the east. Trina, hey, girl. Hey. All right. So let's go ahead and do the Shema, which is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Deuteronomy. Read it from the NIT version like we always do. I'm sorry, NIT. NLT, I'm sorry, New Living Translation. It's a call for wholehearted commitment, beautiful people. All right. These are the commands, decrees, and regulations that the Lord your God commanded me to teach you. You must obey them in the land you are about to enter and occupy, and you and your children and grandchildren must fear the Lord your God as long as you live. If you obey all his decrees and commands, you will enjoy a long life. Listen closely, Israel, and be careful to obey. Then all will go well with you, and you will have many children in the land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Listen, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. The Lord your God will soon bring you into the land that he swore to give to you when he made a vow to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is a land with large, prosperous cities that you did not build. The houses will be richly stocked with goods you did not produce. You will draw water from cisterns you did not dig, and you will eat from vineyards and olive trees that you did not plant. When you have eaten your fill in this land, be careful not to forget the Lord who rescued you from slavery in the land of Egypt. You must fear the Lord your God and serve him. When you take an oath, you must only use his name. You must not worship any of the gods of the neighboring nations, for the Lord your God, who lives among you, is a jealous God. His anger will flare up against you, and he will wipe you from the face of the earth. You must not test the Lord your God as you did when you complained at Massa. You must diligently obey the commands of the Lord your God, all the laws and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so all will go well with you. Then you will enter and occupy the good land that the Lord swore to give to your ancestors. You will drive out all the enemies living in the land, just as the Lord said you would. In the future, your children will ask you, what is the meaning of these laws, decrees, and regulations that the Lord our God has commanded us to obey? Then you must tell them, We were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his strong hand. The Lord did miraculous signs and wonders before our eyes, dealing terrifying blows against Egypt and Pharaoh and all his people. He brought us out of Egypt so he could give us this land he had sworn to give to our ancestors. And the Lord our God commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear him so that he can continue to bless us and preserve our lives as he has done to this day. For we will be counted as righteous when we obey all the commands the Lord our God has given unto us. Linda, good morning. Alicia, yeah. Hey, girl, hey. Joy, shalom, shalom. Levine, blessings, overstanding 777. Sienni. Okay, y'all. So let's get back to it. Let me do this right there. Blow y'all up right here. Okay. Oh, here we go. Well, we left off in the intro in the Complete Annunaki Bible. So now we know that as the time has progressed, the previous ruling gods have completely handed over all their lordship to Marduk. It is now the time of the Ram, right? Marduk. So everybody, all the current worshiping, everything all over the world, literally by default goes to Marduk. Okay, hold on. I think I want to go back. Go back to the page before where it actually begins that part a little bit. And when if you were present for the Lost Book of Enki, you will see as time progressed, when they had this last catastrophe that happened, nothing survived, and no kingdom that was ruling by those current gods, by the Anunnaki, those who came from heaven, the sons of Anu, and I forgot his wife's name, but him and his woman, Enki, Enlil, Nama, them, nothing was left but Babylon. And Marduk was the ruler over Babylon. So by default, everybody said it must be the creator of all will that it's his time to reign. Because remember, Marduk kept getting pushed to the side, even though he was the firstborn of Enki, right? So after everybody in the scene, everything was destroyed except for Babylon, where Marduk was currently ruling, where they pushed him out to. They said it really must be his time, right? So every place that we rule, even if it's built up, we hand all our powers over to you. So now Marduk is literally the ruler of the whole known world at this time. Shayla, great rising. Okay, so I'm going to go back a page down at the last two sentences of this page on page 21. Actually, let me go up just a little bit. Let me go back. I'm going to go to the middle paragraph. Okay. The idea that the work is devil worship is ludicrous in that the tradition existed in a pre-Christian era where such definitions did not exist. While many have indeed made the Enki Satan connection in the past, it should be understood that the opposing side of Enlil is no more or less evil, but a matter of specific perspective. The fact remains that the Enlilite worldview reigns supreme, with Jehovah Yahweh being the singular source for all the universe, and his brother Satan is the devil seeking to reap the souls of men away from Yahweh. Okay, so when you read the Bible, people, like you just said, people, Yahweh in the Bible is they liken him to Enlil, and Satan, they liken him to Enki. Okay. Such ideas exist only as cultural perspectives, and since Babylon did indeed exist within Enlilite territory, although just to the south, Eridu was to forever and always be sacred to Enki. Babylonians became demonized and is a common issue of war, religion, and politics. The mission is to unify all under a Mardukite banner who sought to return people to God through magic and prayer, and not animal and other sacrifices of life or wretched enslavement. Did not bode well for the other gods. So it seems like Marduk was actually trying to do what we feel we should be doing, right? Turning back to Yah in complete righteousness, not offering animal sacrifices and enslavement like Enki was doing. So, I'm like, that's interesting. Because the way I understood it, it was the other way around. Like Marduk was the Satan type person, when in reality, according to the ancient scrolls, it was the exact opposite. Okay. Marduk sought to bring the navel of the earth from antediluvian Nippur to Babylon, but his stargate at Babylon, the gateway of the gods, the original Tower of Babel, was destroyed in c. 3460 BC. Yes. What? The ones that say Dodge. Marduk sought to bring the navel of the earth from antediluvian Nippur to Babylon, but his stargate at Babylon, the gateway of the gods, the original Tower of Babel, was destroyed in c. 3460 BC. Marduk then went to the Nile region as Ra, and there ensued a 350-year war between Marduk and his brother Thoth, Hermes, which is Ningishita, for supremacy. Eventually, Thoth bows out to start a civilization in South America as Quetzalcoatl. It is important to note here that the powers of Marduk were bestowed upon him as the youngest of the elder gods. His position was elevated to that of Lord of the earth, such as once held by Enki and Enlil at other times and places. Marduk becomes the all god or lord of the earth, and given the roles, names, and functionings of the remaining 50 that had been appointed as gods, each in their own right and time and culture. So since everybody else, um, all lordship and everything had ended and everything, because Babylon was the only one to stand, everybody with any previous titles, all of those were automatically conferred upon Marduk. So if a title of Supreme Lord belonged to Enki, it now belonged to Marduk. So people kind of get twisted with different uh titles and stuff, thinking that it was the person before or the person before that. And technically they're right, but they forget about the transition periods, just like the pharaohs, right? There were multiple pharaohs. You have to be very specific which pharaoh you were talking about, or like the Herods. It's like that same thing. So at this time, all of that stuff transferred to Marduk. So you have to be careful of who you're talking about. Yeah, the Anunnaki are fallen Malachim from Sefer, from the scroll of Enoch. You're right. You're right. We've already figured that part out. Mystical order of Israel. And the equivalent of the most, not Enki or Enlil. Yeah, that's what this explains. That's what this explains. And when you read through the Lost Book of Enki, which we just got finished reading for the last couple months. No, I'm sorry. It was 14. We literally went through that in 14 days. We did the tablet a day. I'm sorry. All right, so for the last 2 weeks, I'm not sure if you was there for that or not. Okay, let's see. It should be stressed that these gods are not God and that there is only one God, but this force does not concern itself with the mundane aspects of the physical world in which we live. Anu is the name given to the Heavenly Father, he who reigns over the Anunnaki from the heavens that came to earth in ancient times, who remain in spirit and genetics even among us today. The Necronomicon is a Mardukite grimoire specifically for the race of Marduk that keeps watch over the gate to the outside. In addition to the previously discussed priestly lore, there are a few other key areas to consider. Firstly, the Malklu exorcism. Remember, Malklu is Maqlu. Firstly, the Malklu exorcism, found on Akkadian tablets, was performed around October 31st, the ancient Samhain equivalent of Halloween, and perhaps also Beltane on May the 1st. These include rudimentary protections offered to a Babylonian Mardukite. The second is the Tablets of Marduk, which is to say the Magan text, which is Egyptian, or the Enuma Elish, which is Babylonian, and the underworld descent of Inanna, which is also Inanna, has also been given the name throughout history as Ishtar and also Isis. who is actually Marduk's sister, also known as Asarte or Ashtoreth. In addition, the seventh tablet that Marduk added to the Enuma Elish is essentially the book of 50 names found in the Necronomicon. The tablets of Marduk would be read publicly by priests at Marduk's festival of Akiti or Zagmut when the sun enters Aries at the spring equinox on May 21st. All right, and this is where we paused at yesterday. This next section is entitled Secret of the Ages, the Key to It All. While most pure and arcane mystical notebooks contain few clues favoring success of uninitiated, before digressing to the actual text of the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible, it might be appropriate here for the current editor to provide an important occult foundation.
I want some more of that tonight. If they're going to eat mine,
okay,
just cook some more tonight.
Okay, I got you. Hold on, let me go back, y'all. While most pure and arcane mystical notebooks contain few clues favoring success of uninitiated, before digressing to the actual text of the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible, it might be appropriate here for the current editor to provide an important occult foundation for the seeker, no matter what their pre-existing background in the great mysteries may be. Firstly, we are told that the ancient axiom, okay, babe, y'all drive safe. Firstly, we're told the ancient axiom that as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the self. Know thyself. Heaven and hell come from within one's own mind. Life is a mirror. You observe what you reflect. The sciences and technologies shall darken everywhere the hopes of men. All relationships not in a state of agreement shall fall. Life experience is subject to belief, and belief solidifies, manifests, and conditions reality. Self realization begins with detachment from all things, all systems, all beliefs, all dead memories. You are not your physical body. In a world of depersonalization, you must demonstrate your own self-control and determination to regain the freedom of the self. To be freed from the limitations of the world is to make possible the liberation of self in the individual and fusion with the all. And remember, the all is the creator of all. They refer to it as ALL, the all. In Hebrew, in the like the Aramaic and Arabic, you will see it as AL. To remove one of the L's. In the Hebrew, the modern Hebrew, you will see it as L, right? But it should be all ALL. The English language can screw us all the way up. Whenever you affirm I am and add something, this is a form of enslavement to consciousness. The true I of self is not restricted to any conception of personality programming that you have experienced in the surface reality or world. QED. Hold on. I don't know what that stands for. It just has in capital letters QED. The true I of you has never been thirsty, never been angry. Do you want to prove it? The next time you have this experience, okay, the QED might stand for example. Okay, let me start it over. Okay, QED. The true I of you. You're talking about when you say yeah, you. Okay. The true I of you has never been thirsty, never been hungry. Do you want to prove it? The next time you have this experience, observe it from the self. The very idea that you can do this proves it is not real. If it was from the eye of you, or okay, so the eye would be the real you, like your spirit man. Why is my screen so? Hold on, my kids must have touched something, or I must have hit it. Yep. Okay, I might have did that. Okay, blame it on my kids. Father, forgive me. Okay, let me go back. My screen was like it was real dark. It was like that when I cut it on, but I just never. Okay, I digress. The next time you have this experience, observe it from the self. The very idea that you can do this proves it is not real. If it was from the eye of you, it would not be a thing to be observed by you at all. It would be you. If you can artificially create experiences in your mind, what does that tell you? Self is to be found at the core of your being. It is you who is doing the discovering or finding. It is the self in and of self. You are here in the now. And when you remove all things, you find self. It's as simple as that. There is nothing to be out there looking for at all. Only when you can see yourself from a point of self-honesty can you see you or anything else for that matter for what is real. And I found that to be true. Mom, shalom, shalom. Especially with different thoughts that you have. A lot of times the thoughts that's floating around in our heads, most of those thoughts, as you get older and you really begin to ponder it, a lot of those thoughts didn't even generate with you. You're actually just regurgitating thoughts and ideas that other people have imparted to you. Like literally sit there and think about all of your original thoughts, things that you currently believe today. If it didn't come from like a personal experience where it generates the thoughts from this experience, those are not even your thoughts. And a lot of people are living their life by default based on other people's thoughts and inputs and feelings that they project on them. When it's talking about the when it's talking about the what, I think you missed the word mystical order of Israel. When it is talking about it sounds like, and then you got Hebrew letters and so the endless, infinite, eternal one, the holy one, blessed be he. I think you missed the word in there. When it's talking about what? When it's talking about, oh, the all. Okay, that's what it's talking about. Blessed be he, the creator of all. Hallelujah. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, let me find my spot. Okay. Only when you can see yourself from a point of self honesty can you see you or anything else for that matter for what is real. Reality equals heaven and earth. Earth is more physical and seen part of reality. Heaven is more physically unseen. All the dimensions are one, like one building, and yet there would seem to be varying degrees and levels and doors and barriers and points of perspective. Indeed, all is one in equality. Reality, space, and time is one and whole, and we only perceive fragmented parts. The issue may not, the issue is maybe not what we are seeing, but why we are able to see or not see something. That's good. Let me go back a couple sentences. Reality equals heaven and earth. Earth is a more physical and seen part of reality. Heaven is more physically unseen. All the dimensions are one, like one building, and yet there would seem to be varying degrees and levels and doors and barriers and points of perspective. Indeed, all is one in equality. Reality, space, and time is one and whole, and we only perceive fragmented parts. The issue is maybe not what we are seeing, but why we are able to see or not see something. Our emotional responses are reactions based on dead energy, memory, and experience. The real is somewhat static or unchanging. Yourself is simply I am, and there is nothing else but what. Hold on. Okay, gotcha. Let me go back. Okay. The real is somewhat static or unchanging. Your the real is somewhat static or unchanging. Yourself is simply I am, and there is nothing else but what thought, data, and interpretations of the mind based on other people's experiences of the real provide. This comes to you first by conditioning, and then you continue to feed or recycle or re engage yourself in the same knowledge and behavior patterns and build upon them cumulatively. I screwed the word up. Your dislikes, likes, and inclinations are dictated by the conditioned self, a persona program recursively operating as a spiral, ladder to be operantly conditioned by pleasure equal good and pain equals bad, until the casual pattern of reality is so deeply ingrained that you become a robot operating on self-fulfilling prophecies and expectation response triggers. Labels, names, and figures are man's calculations of truth. These negate innocence in all forms and are ever changing. Labels create the reactive response settings within your program, creating files and copy, pasting pre existing ideas and beliefs. The ego downloads additional manifestations, imagery, and artificially created barriers, limitations, and then further isolates you to be overcome by more worldly programming. We were once all aware of this oneness, and later our spirits were fragmented, removed, and brought to this place, far from God's love, to be slaved. But now the time for the freedom of the race of Marduk has arrived. And down here at the bottom it says, this discourse first appeared in Marduk and the Anunnaki. Okay, so the next section, okay, is that the end of the intro? Okay, yeah, that's the end of the intro. So now we're at the Anunnaki Bible of Joshua 3. Okay. And there's a few more little sections before we actually get to the first tablet or tablet A. Okay. The Anunnaki Bible of Joshua Free. The Mardukite Necronomicon Cycle by Joshua Free is essential reading for any Mardukite, but beyond even this specific semantic paradigm, it is a must read for anyone considering themselves a truth seeker. It is intriguing and refreshing to see this forgotten lore so painstakingly researched from a perspective that is both anthropological and historical, not to mention mystical and spiritually nourishing, resulting from a 15-year journey into the sources of New Age metaphysical mysteries of the underground. Joshua Free had fallen upon what appeared to be a pure current stream back to the sources of Babylonian tradition. The more these varying tablet renderings were examined in relation to one another, coupled with some intensive practical mysticism, the tradition seemed to make sense. The tradition seemed to make sense and was extraordinarily complemented in its justification when compared to other surrounding or later influenced systems. It can most certainly be said that the semantics, terminology, and characters of the great mysteries are all subject to personal interpretation, usually separated by geography and time. It seemed to the up and coming research group calling themselves the Mardukite Chamberlains that this ancient current was very much alive, or perhaps willing itself to be reborn for our times, and it was essentially the oldest remnant of the source tradition, rooted in what apparently sprung up overnight when sky gods descended to civilize humans in the Mesopotamian Mediterranean, sparking the single most monumental advancement in the history of human evolution. The nature of these sky gods seem to be under debate as the subject of their divinity, and this appears to be the main subject of the Necronomicon and related lore. At the time when these alleged mythologies were being solidified, they were not fanciful stories, or even as naive historians and mythologists have suggested, a primitive means of explaining natural phenomena. The ancient pantheon, the Anunnaki in Mesopotamia, reappear in the cultural mythologies throughout the world, spanning all peoples and times. Not only does it appear that the figures rivaled among each other for the supremacy rights on earth and for the control of various tablets and locations, but men continued to fight in the arbitrary title given to their personal deities long after the sky gods appeared to have left the planet. The monotheistic ideal was more rampant in the ancient world that historians like to give credit for, although the appearance of the titles Elohim or gods does, in fact, exist in its nature of their divinity, that is misunderstood when the Atenist, Mardukite, Zoroastrian, Mithraic age passed to Yahweh's monotheism. The idea that is allegedly prevalent today, although as night is it Nitzche? Hold on. Niettzche. That's a last name. Although as Nitzche suggests, the world does not really live and act as though it were under the watchful eye of some supreme singular law enforcing deity. Okay, so there's a footnote, and it's footnote number 12. And the footnote came in this third paragraph with the word Anunnaki, right? So Anunnaki, clearly we know that, but it's repeating that here just in case people hadn't read the book that we just finished reading with the 14 tablets. Anunnaki, literally, heaven came to earth as translated by Zechariah Sitchin. Previously, scholars translated as judges, or literally, they who decree the fate on earth. And in the book of Enoch, they are called the Watchers, right? And that's who, although the Bible doesn't give them a specific name in Genesis, if we read it and we go back to Enoch, we know that they are the Watchers, right? Those who decree fates. But if you read some of the earlier manuscripts and tablets, it gives you a more specific sect of those Anunnaki and who they actually were, which was the Igigi. And we know it's the Igigi because the book of Enoch said it was 200 of them that made a pact together and came down, and they took wives, they took women. And we find that in the old tablets. It's the sect of the Anunnaki. The Igigi are Anunnaki, but they are a sect of the Anunnaki who are labeled the Igigi, right? It's those 200 there. The book of Enoch calls them the Watchers. The older tablets call them the Igigi. The Bible takes all titles away and just say the sons of God came down and had sex with the daughters of men, right? Okay. I know y'all got it, but I just wanted to reiterate it for those who may not been here when we're actually going through that, breaking it down. Okay. Dissolution of enslavement for building physical pyramids and temple shrine control sites of the ancient Anunnaki, and replacement with the enslavement to the modern monetary systems continues to enslave mankind under the all-seeing eye and simultaneously destroying our planet in its wake. The outward reflection that these more modern systems have failed us gravely. It then seems by no coincidence that the last century of gate openings has mainly prepared those who see for the current era when history will once again repeat itself and the traditions of our ancestors will rightly return, ushering in a new evolution of humanity for a new age. The Mardukite Necronomicon cycle begins with the Book of the Anunnaki, Tablet A, providing a preliminary description of the natures of the Watchers and the Igigi. It is these figures that reappear in the books of the dead of the ancient world as the guardians of otherworldly portals, thresholds, and gates. At the very least, it seems clear that the ancients acknowledged these figures as controlling both life and death and by nature the worlds that each inhabited, and also between those worlds, that these sky gods are absolutely a separate race, but somehow harmonious with our genetics also seems evident, and even that they had varying races among themselves, just as we see in the human population today, just like I was just explaining with the EG and the Anunnaki, right? It's the Anunnaki, but it's a race or a sect within the group of Anunnaki. Or Anunnaki means those who came from heaven to earth. The Book of Stargates, Tablet B, contains a major portion of the Babli text, those which became the basis of the Babylonian, not Sumerian, version book edited by Simon, while the sevenfold gate system within the Simonicon came under attack by critics as both fake and dangerous. Simultaneously, research endeavors of the Mardukite Chamberlains resulted in uncovering of a nearly identical gate system independently and from more antiquated sources than the Simon book. They were found in Babylon and again in Egypt. This concept of gate working extends back to ancient times when the priests worked alongside the Anunnaki in maintaining the stargates of these sky gods, places where glamour and mystique have since been lost when their power was deactivated or forgotten. These buildings were commonly stepped pyramids built in 7 stages and possessing 7 main sections on their ascent, the most important for our purposes being the Temen Anki, or Temen Temen period An period Ki, or foundation bond of heaven and earth. That's what we know it by from the Lost Book of Enki, the heaven and earth portal, or foundational bond of heaven and earth, and another being the Isagila or Isagila, the official shrine temple of Marduk in Babylon. The Babali formula becomes increasingly important to follow for these structures to possess their authenticity. The ladder of lights system of self initiation has been alluded to in revivals of Egypto Babylonian traditions, are also symbolic in nature. As in speculative Freemasonry, no literal stairway is attempted in astral pathworking, and attention is transferred from the temple shrine as a physical structure to the temple shrine as the physical body or the personal self, a microcosm, literally a miniature universe unto itself. Oh, we talked about this a little bit a while ago. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. Tiffany, hey girl, hey. Okay. This is likening the temple to the body, or the structures of the pyramids to the body, the self. This method grew in popularity in the Egypto-Babylonian Hermetic mysteries, and of course the Chaldeans and Mithraic traditions, and Zoroaster or Zarathustra of older pre-dynastic models have a relatively higher focus on physical construction. You can't do this now because I have to go through and reset all of this. And I'm not going to do that right now. Don't start pressing stuff or you're going to lock me out the English language and I can't read none of them other ones yet. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Sorry. She came over here with my iPad and everything is connected. So it threw you off on Facebook. Okay. The ladder of lights system of self initiation that has been alluded to in revivals of Egypto Babylonian traditions are also symbolic in nature. As in speculative Freemasonry, no literal stairway is attempted in astral path working, and attention is transferred from the temple shrine as a physical structure to the temple shrine as the physical body or the personal self, a microcosm, literally a miniature universe unto itself. This method grew in popularity in the Egypto-Babylonian Hermetic mysteries and, of course, the Chaldean and Mithraic traditions and the Zoroaster and Zarathustra. I probably said that wrong. Of older pre-dynastic models have a relatively higher focus on physical construction. Where we at? Okay. All right, so we almost at the end of this little chapter, then we're going to hop into my big toe. It later became an important function of the priest and priest king to oversee maintenance of already built temple shrines, as well as the activation of the symbolic astral or the energetic veils or layers of the individual body temples of the population. In short, the ancient system was not empty of pragmatism, as it could be said of many revival traditions today. The precession of the gates becomes the next topic in question. The traditional order, familiar to prior devotees of Simonian necronomics, is valid for its purposes, but somehow, in the world of form, the physical construction of the gates, the order is directly opposite from our vantage point. Additional lore coupled with this offers a few key complementary suggestions. Firstly, that there are two sets, realizations or experiences of gates, as is mirrored in the Semitic vision of the same genetic tree or Kabbalah, one of the life and order, and another of death and chaos, but both under the watchful eye of the one. Secondly, logic suggests that any series of thresholds placed in a successive order, such as this, is either single directional or again subject to relative interpretation. In our traditional case of creating astral shields over our spirit form, such as was done originally to bind the spirit form into the matrix of light rays that is called physical existence, or like a Merkaba, right? That's what it's talking about. A seeker works from the first gate as a base to begin self initiation or purification and redirection. In this case, the moon. But when we stand at the base of the physical gate to the gods, we are standing at the step of the Saturn gate, meaning that the tradition was designed first of and for the Anunnaki themselves, for when they descend from the top of the ladder, the first gate they come in contact with is the moon. The lunar veil is also what most have experienced as the astral or dreamscape, and so it is considered in many ways to be the most accessible or nearest to the human range of experience of them all. And we, for those of us who are actually been practicing learning how to work our bodies, going in and out of them at will, calling it outer body experiences, right? Because a lot of us, we just start having them from the time we're born, and we don't know why it happens. We just know it happened. We don't realize it's like a whole training ground for us, and nobody taught us how to control it. It'll just randomly happen, trying to get our attention. And a lot of times, like, oh my gosh, let me tell you what just happened to me. And we go off telling what just happened to us, and we never give another thought about it. If we do, we don't realize we're supposed to be learning how to operate our spirits. Like our spirits should, at that point when we start realizing it, our spirits is trying to get our attention that we should be training this flesh or training our dog that's been on this leash attached to our spirit, that we should begin training. But because a lot of that stuff has been removed from most places, especially here for us that live in the West, ain't nobody teaching us this. They call these ancient mysteries and ancient teachings and stuff, to whereas if you live in different parts of the world that still have these teachers teaching you this, it makes us so far behind the ball. Like us now just learn, like, wait a minute, we can purposely control this. We don't have to just wait for y'all to come get us out of a dream and show us stuff. We should literally be growing, exercising ourselves. That way we can get the most benefit out of everything. And we literally can begin to change the atmosphere around us and change the world. Yeah, Tiffany, hadn't really considered it like that before, right? Because you got to think about it. Everything that's going on in this current world is because of our current actions and our current state of mind. And everybody, mostly everybody, is operating on like the default setting of these bodies that we've been in. Once you begin to train yourself, right, and train in this realm, and you begin to actually live on purpose and take responsibility for things, you begin to change the world around you and what you come in direct contact with. Just imagine if everybody began to do that, how the world would literally change overnight. And a lot of the craziness that's going on and the wars and stuff, all of this stuff would cease to be, right? Because everybody would literally be raised to a higher level of consciousness and would not just operate in human flesh out of the default settings, right? It's like people getting Apple phones and all these high-tech cell phones, and you really just using it for texting on social media and answering your phone calls. You don't even really know this is a miniature computer that can do all kinds of stuff. Nobody ever reads, I ain't gonna say nobody, it's 1% of the population that actually go through and read the manuals, right? You buy microwaves, you never read the manual, you buy big pieces of equipment. How many people ever read the manual to your vehicle until the check engine light come on? And still when the check engine light come on, you don't even get your manual. I'm gonna just take it to the shop. You have no clue what is going on at all. You just know how to operate it by default just to get you where you need to go, right? Like, ain't y'all sick of living like that? It's crazy. That's why a lot of people got to keep coming back and keep doing it over and over again until you finally wake up. Let me go back. The precession of the gates becomes the next topic in question. The traditional order, familiar to prior devotees of Simonian necronomics, is valid for its purposes, but somehow in the world of form, in the physical construction of the gates, the order is directly opposite from our vantage point. Additional lore coupled with this offers a few complementary suggestions. Firstly, that there are two sets, realizations or experiences of gates, as is mirrored in the Semitic version of the same genetic tree or Kabbalah. And there's a reference 13 for Kabbalah. See also Enochian Magic and Kabbalah by Joshua Free, also contained in the year 4 History of the Necronomicon anthology edited by Joshua Free. So that's probably a good Enochian magic book to get. I have a different one which is really easy to read, but since they reference this one in here, if you can get it, get it. It's only gonna add to your learning. It's gonna be good. Hold on. Let me see this right here. Remember this. Okay. In our traditional case of creating astral shields or the Merkaba over our spirit form, such as was done originally to bind the spirit form into the matrix of light rays that is called physical existence, a seeker works from the first gate as a base to begin self initiation or purification and redirection. In this case, the moon. But when we stand at the base of the physical gate to the gods, we are standing at the step of the Saturn gate, meaning that the tradition was designed first of and for the Anunnaki themselves, for when they descend from the top of the ladder, and the first gate they come into contact with is the moon. The lunar veil is also what most have experienced as the astral or dreamscape, and so it is considered in many ways to be the most accessible or nearest to the human range of experience of them all. The Anunnaki must take on or put on their form in order to appear and interact as entities in the matrix of our existence. We, in turn, must remove these fantastic energies from ourself cumulatively to ascend the system. Implications of this Implications of this show a new purpose to the personal gate work, often called the ladder of lights, when performed with the common intention in mind, as alluded to in past works describing the Necronomicon cycle. The ascent up the ladder of lights is meant to purify and amplify the shells over our egg of spiritual existence. In parentheses, it has divine spark that gives us our identity in the world of form. However, working the pathway of the system backwards back to the source can actually allow the dissolution of the identity in the light matrix, peeling away the layers of glamour attached to programmed existence like an onion. It is not difficult to compare similarities between the Babylon and the Stargate lore, which, when coupled with numeric ranks designated to the Anunnaki steps, makes the system virtually one and the same. Okay, this is like the last page of here, y'all. The Egyptian chapters of crossing included in the Mardukite Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible are better known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which also details a sevenfold system that scholars believe originate from pre-dynastic Mesopotamian sources. So remember, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, that's a misnomer. They named that wrong. The actual name of that book is The Coming Forth by Day, also known as a Book of Life, like my uncle mentioned the other day. Okay, it has two columns right here with 7 names in them both, and the first column is the Babli text, and the second column is the Stargate text. Okay, and there's a footnote for the Babli text, number 14. It says the Babli texts are those specific to the physical construction of the temples. The 15th reference says the Stargate texts are those specific to the spiritual practices of the priests and people. Okay, so the first one in the Babli text is Ninurta, Saturn, Black. Okay, let me show it to you. Okay, so there's 3 words in each one, and they're separated by dashes. Okay, you see that? And I'm not gonna say dash. Maybe I should. Okay, I'm gonna say dash. Okay. The Babli text, number 1 is Ninurta Saturn Black. Number 1 for Stargate is Nana. Nana Moon Silver. Number 2 in the Babli text is Marduk Jupiter Orange. And the Stargate number 2 is Nebo Mercury Blue. The Babli text number 3 is Nergal Mars Red. Number 3 is Inanna Venus White. Babli text number 4, Samas Sun Yellow. Number 4 in the Stargates is Samas Sun Gold. Number 5 in the Babli text is Ishtar Venus Yellow Green. Number 5 in Stargate is Nergal Mars Red. Number 6 in the Babli text is Nabu Mercury Blue. The number 6 in Stargates is Marduk Jupiter Purple. The Babli text number 7 is Nana Sin Moon Silver. And then the Stargate text number 7 is Ninib Saturn Black. Again, let me show it to you real quick. If you got the book, it's just showing the comparisons between the two and how they're similar. Okay. Elsewhere in our Mardukite Necronomicon, we arrive at the Enuma Elish, or Book of Nemesis, which is tablet N, known to ancient Babylonians as sacred Epic of Creation tablets. A different version of questionable origins actually appears in the Simonian version of this. Hold on, let me go back. A different version of questionable origins actually appears in the Simonian version as the Magan text, but is notably incomplete. Curiously, most scholars disregard the significance of the seventh tablet, which we present as the Book of 50 Names, Tablet F. These were also found and translated from our own Babylonian research, independent of the Simonian Book of 50 Names. During the Babylonian New Year festival celebration of Akiti or Akitu, these tablets were read in public by the priests. The Akiti festival was marked by the start of what we call the zodiacal wheel, approximately March 21st, or the spring equinox. And that's the last little paragraph, and we're going to pause. For this new edition of the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible, our presentation of the Malklu tablet series, tablets M-1 through 9, is updated with both the Akkadian and New English translation previously unavailable from the Mardukite Research Organization in 2009 when the original Necronomicon cycle was completed. It appears in this volume as derived from the Liber M supplement developed in 2011 by Joshua Free and Kim Jurgen. Reference 16 is Liber M, released as Malklu Magic or Necronomicon Spellbook number 2. Our research shows that the actual Malklu tablet series appeared nowhere in Simon's work. Those incantations that we found congruent to his work appear on other various Babylonian, Chaldean, and Akkadian tablets almost verbatim as they appeared in the popular edition of this book. This discourse first appeared in the Necronomicon Hidden Keys. And that's what we're going to pause at today right here. We still over our 30-minute mark for reading this, but I wanted to finish that particular section. So it's still 1, 2, 3 more sections in the introduction before we actually get to tablet A. We're on page 28, and the end of this intro is on page 40. So possibly Sunday or Monday, we'll actually start reading tablet A. Okay. All right, y'all. So chapter 23 in My Big Toe on page 163. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. No, not really, but I couldn't help it every time I hear that. I think about Ghostbusters. Okay, who you gonna call? That's actually the name of the chapter. True enough, in matters of evolution, there is no free lunch. Nevertheless, contemplating and evaluating the ideas of others can be an immensely helpful aid to your progress and to your effort to grow the quality of your consciousness. You do not need to figure out everything for yourself. The advice of others can be like having a map to guide your explorations. An incorrect map can send you off on a wild goose chase. And we know that personally. You must evaluate the correctness of the map as you go, because before you go, you can only guess and assume your way through a shallow evaluation of any map. A useful map must necessarily be somewhat general, whereas each journey must be individual and personal. Before going on to the wholly new concepts of the next chapter, let's first pull together what we have learned about the origins and consequences of belief and the requirements of personal growth, so that those who are so inclined can get started on developing the experience base you will need to construct your personal big toe, or at least evaluate this one. Remember, toe stands for theory of everything. Your perception of the world you live in. My big toe is my theory of everything, right? Just like your big toe is your theory of everything. It's a compilation of your experiences, beliefs, actions, thought, all everything. That's your big toe. Sometimes it has to be adjusted. Sometimes it has to be adjusted because we don't have a big toe. We have a small toe, probably a pinky toe, right? In the preceding chapter, we determined that you must do your own exploring and grow your own wisdom. You cannot progress by letting others do the work. To believe what someone else, including me, tells you to become a believer is lazy, risky, and amounts to accepting someone else's belief or knowledge in place of your knowledge. Copying the behavior or beliefs of others, or reciting or memorizing their knowledge cannot produce significant spiritual or personal growth for you. That's kind of like what I was saying earlier today. A lot of us, we don't even know what our original thoughts are. A lot of what we got in our head is thoughts and inputs and feelings from other people that they have projected on us. You need to get rid of all that crap. I mean, keep what's good. You need to sift through it. Keep the good, toss out the bad. Find out where your thoughts originate. Find out where you are in here. Where's the real you? Yep, no, that sounds like her. That ain't your thought. You don't even, no, that's not even your personality. You didn't say that. That's not even your thought, right? Even people who get in states of depression. People are in states of depression over other people's thoughts. Though they're not even depressed over their own thoughts. They're depressed over what they perceive to be their own thoughts. And they're not that way at all. People actually take themselves out of this world. Excuse me, hold on. People actually take themselves out of this world because of what they perceive, and their perception is completely wrong. Other people's thoughts, and we see it today, especially in our young people, over social media. Other people's thoughts and pictures and all that crap they putting out there, they just choose to accept that into themselves and make it their own. And that is so horrible, right? Social media can be good for keeping in contact with loved ones and friends who are not close to you, but it can also be a detriment for the minds who are not ready and don't know how to decipher truth from error. I'm a true believer that even some teenagers, right? I personally think it should be a law that you you need to pass some kind of, I don't know, personality test or something to be allowed access to social media. I really do, especially the younger kids, right? Because their mind hasn't even fully developed yet. Even the teenagers, right? And them and they shenanigans, all the what's the what's the thing? It's not social media, but it's in a line of social media. It's one of them ratchet social media janks. World Star Hip Hop. I think that's what it is. World Star Hip Hop. All that craziness, man, is, y'all get what I'm saying. Let me go back. I digress. In the preceding chapter, we determine that you must do your own exploring and grow your own wisdom. You cannot progress by letting others do the work. To believe what someone else, including me, tells you to become a believer is lazy, risky, and amounts to accepting someone else's belief or knowledge in place of your knowledge. Copying the behavior or beliefs of others, or reciting or memorizing their knowledge cannot produce significant spiritual or personal growth for you. Although some guidance by a fellow explorer may help you better understand your challenges and choices, discovering big truth and increasing the quality of your consciousness is fundamentally an independent individual effort. Talking about it all day and night with the greatest of gurus won't produce one iota of real progress. Your lasting progress must be the result of your personal effort. Personal growth can be achieved most efficiently and effectively when it is a product of good science. This is subjective science or personal science, not to be confused with either organized or personal religion or objective science. Subjective science is the mother of objective science. Real personal science requires real, verifiable, measurable, objective results. Here, the word results at the most basic level refers to significant, sustained, and verifiable progress towards the improvement of the quality of your conscious being, the evolution of mind, the growing up and maturing of spirit. Why? Because that is the nature of the reality we live in. You will see that the physical nature as well as the spiritual nature of our reality is straightforwardly derived from the natural process of consciousness evolution. By the end of the next two sections, science will have logically derived the origins, nature, purpose, and mechanics of both spirituality, increasing consciousness quality through evolution in your physical world. That was a very powerful statement, Tiffany, wasn't it? You will eventually discover that our reality is fundamentally non physical from a personal matter reality perspective and is animated and driven by profitability towards states of lower entropy. If your efforts do not produce measurable, significant growth, your personal science is only illusory. The knowledge gained through personal science continually and dramatically modifies itself as it grows and changes. On the other hand, cultural, personal, religious, or scientific belief systems require only a sincere belief in the assumed truth of their associated dogma, doctrine, and creed. Let me see, we're going to pause that. We at an hour and 6 minutes. Okay. I'll pause after this little section right here. A belief system requires faith in the correctness of its belief. I'm going to say that again. A belief system requires faith in the correctness of its belief because correctness is simply assumed, actual results are not required. Correctness cannot be objectively demonstrated. That is the nature of belief. Mature and stable belief systems, including those generated by cultural, scientific, and religious belief, once in place, do not tend to change. There is a logical disincentive to modify significantly what is, by definition, assumed to be complete and perfect. In contrast, the knowledge gained from mature personal scientific experience is always in continual flux. Open minded skepticism and continual scientific exploration for new data make sure of that. The search for truth is, by its nature, in a constant state of discovery, refinement, assessment, and reassessment because of new data continue to pour in as long as the individual is aware and interested in growth. Honest truth seekers never become know it alls. There is always room to improve yourself as well as your knowledge. When you know it all, when you believe that you have all the answers, you in fact have lost it all. Nothing remains but a hollow shell. And may we never become know it alls, right? Those is here, clearly, none of y'all are know it alls because we steady searching for answers, and our big toe is constantly changing. What we believe is constantly being adjusted to the new truths that we find and we verify that was in our ability to verify. If we can't personally verify it at some point, we ain't gonna discard it. We're just gonna set it off to the side, but you're still in view until we figure out how to verify you. We'll keep you right here for the time being, right? We want to make sure we working out our own soul salvation. Make sure we're not being taken by lies, right? And even new lies or old lies that are wrapped in a prettier package, right? Yes. You do not need any particular belief, disbelief, or faith to motivate you to start on this journey. You need only to grasp the possibility of a greater reality of some sort. After that, the desire to discover the truth should be motivation enough. Additionally, if this just perhaps possible larger reality is also potentially very important and significant to your life and being, nothing should hold you back from expending the necessary energy to explore the truth of the matter for yourself. You can and should learn from others to the greatest extent possible, but you must grow yourself. Learning from those who have gone before can speed your progress. However, choosing those that you think you can best learn from is an iterative process that must constantly be reevaluated in light of your experience and your results, right? So, some people that I learn from, it seems like when I get there, because I learn that a little bit. I may be slow in learning to some, but in some cases I tend to outgrow the current teachers that are currently teaching me a thing, right? Because if I can't verify anything else, I'm gonna just take what was good for me and I'm going to keep going. If I stayed there, I would find myself in a place of frustration, not growing because all the other stuff doesn't pertain to me. So you have to learn how to adjust your teachers as you grow. So different people that I even learned from here on YouTube, I can't even look at their channels anymore. Not that they're bad, but it's like on, I ain't gonna say that I'm higher than them, but the information that they're giving, it's information that I already know, and there's nothing new there for me to glean from. So I have to adjust my teacher, right? Thank you for everything you've given to me. Bless y'all. May he continue to bless you in all that you do. Even if you're just a pit stop for those who need this particular information, which is why you don't bring in any new information. I mean, which you should. You should be continually evolving. Even if you just teach math, you know, you can evolve in the course of math. Maybe you start out teaching elementary math, right? And maybe you decide you want to grow. Okay, I'm done teaching it here. Let me go up another level in math. Now I want to start to teach first graders, and you can continually grow all the way up through algebra, then geometry, all these statistics, all these different levels. You can continue to grow in your area of expertise. There are different levels you can just kind of keep, you know, unfolding within the same, but if all I needed was this particular portion from you, that's all I can take at this moment. And now I have to adjust my teacher to continue growing in my path. You first have to understand what your path is, right? And that may take some time, but you'll learn it in little bits and pieces until you get enough pieces of the puzzle to see, oh snap, that's where I'm supposed to be going. And now you can, and that's how your learning curve, once you get over that learning curve, then it'll seem like your progress and your learning will pick up and just like speed up, and you'll literally almost become a genius overnight, because now you have enough pieces of the puzzle of your life to see exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing. And now at this point, because you can see it, you know exactly where to go. You can be very specific on what you take on and what you don't take on, right? That's not even a part of my purpose. I don't even need that piece. This is what I need. This is what I'm looking for. And you would just, and the people like, man, who is your teacher? Right? Okay. You can and should learn from others to the greatest extent possible, but you must grow yourself. Learning from those who have gone before you can speed your progress. However, choosing those that you think you can best learn from is an iterative process that must consistently be reevaluated in light of your experience and your results. Those who can be most helpful at any given time of your life will change as you and your situation changes. Do not get stuck in patterns, habits, or rituals. Do not look to groups or organizations to tell you what to do. Do not fall into belief traps. Have confidence in yourself. Let me say it again. Have confidence in yourself. Remove this. Yahuwah is one. Thank you, oh great spirit. Yah, fill our minds and hearts with you so that when all negativity comes our way, we turn to you for help and strength in this world. Hallelujah. Do not get stuck in patterns, habits, or rituals. Do not look to groups or organizations to tell you what to do. Do not fall into belief traps. Have confidence in yourself. You not only can do it yourself, but you must do it yourself eventually, quickly or slowly, easily or with great struggle. We are all constantly evolving our consciousness. Evolution forces choice and change, remaining the same by choosing the no action option. is not possible. Let me say that again. Remaining the same by choosing the no action option is not possible. Change cannot be avoided. Change can take place as either positive growth or negative deterioration. The individual choices you make ultimately determine the direction, positive or negative, of your growth. A good teacher provides encouragement, makes the learning experience more intense and more concentrated, and gives the student an opportunity to learn more quickly. Unfortunately, the more you need a good teacher, the less likely you are able to tell a good teacher from a bad one. A good teacher focuses your effort to speed up your progress. A bad one misdirects your efforts and inhibits progress. Always stay skeptical, open minded, and belief free. And most of all, taste that pudding. Continue to require and evaluate actual measurable results. If 6 months go by with no obvious measurable results, this indicates that you need to buckle down and get serious or change your approach. Results, 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 results. Actual, clear, unsubtle, measurable results. That is how you must evaluate the efficiency. This is how you must evaluate the efficacy of your process. Intellectual knowledge and intellectual results are not the results I am referring to. There are no substitute there are no substitute for the real results of a growing, changing being. Knowing about it can be interesting and helpful, but it should never be confused with being it, right? So it's not good to just know. You need to actually be doing what you said you know. Because if you're doing what you say you know, then we know you know what you said you know. But if you ain't doing what you said you know, then we know you don't know what you said you know. I hope y'all kept up. Okay. And we're gonna pause after this little paragraph. a change, a change in the quality of your being, growth in the quality of your consciousness, evolution of your spirit. These are the results I am talking about. Results of the being, not results of the intellect. It is about who you are, not what you know. It is about why you do what you do, not what you say or what you do. When you start intending, doing, and being differently, you will produce measurable results. The tests you must pass are not written ones. Great factual knowledge cannot help you pass a test of the quality of your being. Ooh, boy, now that'll preach. The tests you must pass are not written ones. Great factual knowledge cannot help you pass a test of the quality of your being. You are who you are who and what you are, and it shows no matter how good you might be at controlling your behavior with your intellect. Truth is absolute, but how to discover it and express it within your being must be personal. Develop your tentative roadmap by applying open minded skepticism to the experience and conjecture theory of others. Then modify that map as you collect your data. This makes good sense and offers you the possibility of leveraging the accumulated knowledge and wisdom of others as you define your unique growth path. Adopting a set of beliefs is a comparatively unproductive and risky approach to the evaluation of your being and the quality of your consciousness. And this is where we pause at today. Beautiful people. That was good. That was good. Okay, Trina, you got to go render unto Caesar. We done anyway, so just on time, right? So let me hear them so you can hear the blessing real quick. Okay, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out today. It is Friday, February the 18th, 2022, day number 34 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1052. We read some more the introduction in the Complete Annunaki Bible, and we just read a few pages of chapter 23 in My Big Toe. So let's go ahead and do this blessing real quick so Trina can hear it before she roll out. Remember, the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with the hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. All we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all. Go ahead and render unto Caesar what is due unto him. Thank y'all. It's Friday, right? All right, y'all. So we'll probably be here a little bit longer, hanging out tomorrow and the next day, reading a little bit more of the both of these. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I don't really have anything to share with y'all except for remember, keep practicing, keep doing what you know to do, right? All those things that we learned, take all that. Make sure you're doing it. Don't just learn about it and forget about it, but daily make a habit of fasting, setting aside prayer time for devotion, praying in your in tongues or chanting or meditating, whatever you label it, because it's going to daily build you as we learn about some of these things. And if you're having out of body experiences or having open visions, engage with it. Like all these things we should not just talk about in the past, but we should constantly make it a part of our life so we can see our personal growth, right? Our big toe should be constantly growing on a daily basis, right? Although I may not mention it every day, I just assume that y'all are already doing this. But just in case you just had a momentary lapse of sanity or just completely forgot, like, oh shoot, I am supposed to be doing that daily. Oh my gosh. Thank you for that reminder. Hey, I'm your study buddy. So I just want to throw that out there. I know all y'all doing what y'all know y'all need to be doing to be growing spiritually on a daily basis. But just in case you forgot about something, I just wanted to remind you. All right. Joy, shalom, shalom. I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7:30. At 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, got a comment from Dana. I've fallen asleep twice trying to do wave one. I wake up right when he says 3, 2, 1. It works like clockwork, right? So do you have your okay? So I've talked to a couple people. Okay, so if you're having it's not a problem, right? It's something. If you can't get past a certain wave, what I found out in the last few days by talking to a couple different people on their experiences, people are getting, they said they keep getting stuck or keep waking up at this particular place. I wouldn't call it stuck, but you're possibly missing some information before you can move to the next track in that wave or whatever, to fully go into it. Did Jen come in? She mentioned something because she was one of the ones who it's like two, no, it's like three. It's three people. So now by talking to these three people and what's happening to them, I've come to realize before you can progress, you have to whatever piece I'm not sure what piece you're missing or what piece you don't quite understand, but you have to understand, you got to figure out what piece you're missing. If you can't get past wave one, I've fallen asleep twice trying to do wave one. I'm not sure which track inside of wave one. Inside of all 6 waves, there are 6 individual tracks. If you keep finding yourself waking up at the end of one, not being able to go on, you got to go back. And I would recommend, first place I would start is take the headphones off when you get a chance. Take the headphones off. The one that you're waking up on, play it out loud. Play it on the speaker so you can listen to it without being in a meditative state. And just make sure you're hearing everything he's saying, because when I got stuck at one place, there was something. Remember that one where I told you it was it's in a first wave. I think it's number 3. It's wave 1, track 3, but it was like a whole healing thing for me. I had to wake up. I'm like, okay, what is going on? I'm missing something. When you go in there, if your sleep is really deep, sometimes you may not remember what he said. Now, when he's training you how to do it, it's focus 10 is your body is asleep, but your mind is active and it's sharp and you can remember everything. And as long as your mind is sharp, during that period, you can bring back with you everything that you learned while you were astral projected. I just figured that out in the last couple of days. As long as you can keep that state, you can bring back everything you learned. But apparently you're still in a deep sleep somewhere where some instructions was trying to help you along. So go back and listen to it and sit without being in a meditative state, so you can actually hear what's being said through that whole 30-minute video. Make sure you understand it. Yes, you should be, Dana, you should be conscious of what's going on. Now if you're sleeping, you're probably just starting to get, and that's not wrong. Your body probably is really just taking the rest that it needs, because you get a deeper sleep when you go into it with binaural beats. Your body is really getting a deeper sleep. So it could just be your body is getting a restoration that it needs at that point. I would say keep doing it until you're able to stay fully conscious through the whole thing. Now there will be ones like when you get to 5, like in yeah, you do feel better when you wake up, right? Okay, so something is happening. But if you're not staying conscious, or if you're not completely remembering everything that's being done while you're doing it, I would say do it again. And so it's quite a few people that they doing them more than just once. I thought I was going to be able to just, okay, y'all, I'm gonna go through this whole gateway process. I'm gonna listen to each one. I'm gonna just flow through it. Didn't happen that way. I still ain't made it to wave 2, right? Because I had to do it just by going through that first. I was like, oh, I got to do that again, because I didn't have any like out of body projections or anything like that during the first one. It was like my body was just really resting on a whole nother level. I'm like, yeah, is this the rest you say into? Is this your rest? It is. It's different. It's doing something to the body. It's help restoring those things. And I'm like a late owl and an early bird at the same time. So sometime when y'all see me here, I may be operating on 2 hours of sleep multiple days in a row, right? And so, but I found this to be really helpful. So I'm really now taking my time. Okay, so when I got to 3, I kept waking up at the same spot. I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? Okay, what am I missing? So I did like wave 1, track 3, like 3 times before. I'm like, okay, why do I keep waking up here? I was like, okay, let me think about, I need to hear what he's saying, make sure I'm hearing everything. And I sat here at my laptop and I put it on without headphones so I could hear it out loud, make sure I didn't get that hemi sync thing going on that puts me to sleep. And I heard the instructions. I'm like, I don't remember any of this. So I was like, okay. So now I was aware when I did that, when I was aware of what he said, when I went back into it the next time, I was fully conscious because I was expecting it. And as I walked through it, that's when that whole healing thing began to come up. That's when he asked you to go back to that, your box that you place your fears in, and you begin examining those fears. Like, why do you have it? Like, is it a verified fear? Like, how he gets to the root of it, right? He tells you, look at it, really examine it. Now just let it go, right? And then he deals with the emotions of those fears, because fear has been, like, I grew up watching scary movies, but although I was laughing at them, I didn't realize what it was doing to me inwardly and spiritually. And it caused this great spirit of fear literally to overtake my life, right? Even as an adult. And I had to really come face to face with these fears, like after I joined the military. And it's like, oh, and I just still kind of like put it off, right? And I dealt with it the way I dealt with it, just to kind of cope throughout the day. But whatever is going on, wherever you keep waking up at while you're doing those ways, it's because you're missing something. You need to understand something about yourself, or it could just be your body just kind of needs to restore some things that's been lost over the course of time. So pay attention to that. I would say listen to it while you woke so you can hear everything he's saying throughout it. Then try and go back into it again, understanding and know what this wave is about, and experience it different that time. You may just need to do it a few times, right? I'm still in wave 1 on 5, right? So hopefully through this weekend, I plan on getting into wave 2. Jen, shalom, shalom. I'm not sure how long you've been here. I just mentioned it, what you was talking about, and not getting past certain waves. Somebody else mentioned it. Dana over here on Facebook said she keep waking up on one. It was a great lead into what we was talking about yesterday. Jen, and the emails back and forth. Okay, so but yeah, just pay attention to that. It could be you're missing information. Find out what it is you're missing. I can't tell you because I'm not you. I haven't lived your life, but it should cause you to begin to think and question some things about your life. It could be a possible fear. It could be fear of the unknown. Like all of those things you have to sit and think about. Once you get it, once you get what it is that keeps waking you up at that particular point, you know you got it, because you'll be able to progress on. This is a really good Mr. Monroe, the Monroe Institute, what they did, the science. This is, I don't know, this is grade A to me. I've never been through anything like this in my life. I think this should be like, if you still got a church going on, if you want to start with removing all the foolishness, I think this should be like implemented for every church. If you still want to hold up a church or whatever, okay, well, at least let's try and get healed on a mental and spiritual level. Include this. Every church, y'all need to go through this. Make it a course of class before anybody go through any kind of services or anything. Everybody needs to go through this. And once everybody's gone through it, okay, and that's gonna take probably about a year to get through everything. Once everybody's gone through, everybody can be like on the same page now. Now, let's begin to worship and learn about Yah in spirit and in truth, and who we really are. Realizing where we're at and what we're really supposed to be doing while we're here. The whole earth is a training ground for the spirits. We are spirits in these earth bodies called the flesh. All right, y'all. So with that being said, Dana, I hope they kind of answered your question, right? Kind of like question you making a comment about waking up in the same place. So, but that's what I found in my this last week or so going through this. So, all right, y'all. That's it. Gotta go. We did the blessing and everything. So I see y'all back here tomorrow, bright and early, 7:30, because it's Saturday. Okay. Yes, I will be available for a brief chat after signing off this morning. Call me. All right, beautiful people. Love y'all. See y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Bye, y'all.